But actually, we made it. We made it to episode 7. That's literally the breaking point of so many things. Hence the celebratory double cap. I know, folks. I know. Tune in. Things are getting wild. It's amazing too. I'm starting to listen to music while I'm podcasting and doing work, and not starting to listen to music. That sounds like I've never ever heard music before in my life. but I'm listening to music right now. I wish you guys could hear it. Maybe I'll have to find some like I don't know, some library that I can use unlicensed music or my own. Touche. I could do that. Surprise, used to be a musician, still am. I guess it never goes away. But the point is, we're back. Episode 7, celebratory stuff is happening. I just want to talk about what we want to approach today. I've done a lot of front-end work. We can see what we did yesterday. Let's see, backend. Let's get in the backend repo. I'm going to start the server. A little bit of node mod going on. Let's see. These are supposed to represent icons, and we need to get over to our Kanban page. And this is actually data from. Sorry, I got to turn down the music. It's getting a little too intense. But this is actually data from the back end that we're literally fetching. Where is this music even playing from? I'm so confused. I'm trying to find it. I literally can't. Okay, there it is. Awesome. But so here's like our task that we need to do. One of the tasks that we can kind of do is assign tasks to the columns. Another task we need to do is add task. I kind of want to do some back-end organization and just a little bit of structure and work. A little bit free floating here, you know what I mean? We got tasks to do, things to do. There's a lot of stuff in front of us. So I'll just actually pop open to the server, and I'm going to make another task for us. And this will be task ID number 4. Boom. And what should I actually? I'm going to delete the clean repo task because that's just. I'm always going to need to do that kind of. We're always going to be moving stuff around. There's always going to be stuff that needs to be organized, added, etc., etc. It's a development is like a here's where we start. Here's the elusive idea of a finish line, but the finish line can just keep getting pushed, or the timeline to that finish line can keep getting pushed because it's like, oh, I want to add a new function. Okay, well that stretches your timeline. Oh, I want to add a new third-party integration with some sort of library. Okay, well that stretches your timeline, and I bet someone's like, is he really going to finish this whole episode with 2 hats on? By golly, you bet your tail I am. But the point is so we have this timeline of development, and this is like an elusive idea where you're like, oh, well, right here is where I'll be finished. But the reality is like the timeline is just infinite. Like there's no timeline. Right, so now that I've brought it off the screen, I know that probably invokes anxiety in people, right? But the idea is you just keep approaching and you keep clicking off task, and here's like a new task that you need to finish, and then boom, you click it off and it gets out of the way, and you got another task on the way, and boom, you click it off and it's out of the way, right? And then inevitably you come to a timeline. If we look at this timeline on a bird's eye view, right? That might have been like a zoomed in view of task flying by, right? And you got to do this thing. But the bird's eye view is like, here's maybe a production level where the application is now, it's got some onboarding flows, some sign-up flows, a way to pay, a way to access the content, the data secure, all that stuff. And it's like, boom, you hit that level, but you still got stuff to do. You know, software can change. There's maintenance that needs to be done. There's new repos. There's new third-party integrations. There's new tools. There's maybe old tools that are deprecated. There's legacy libraries that are no longer used or no longer supported or maintained on their end. So it's just like you just have to keep kind of working, right? So that there's a proverbial non-finish line. And more than likely, every project I've ever been a part of, So far has absolutely been like that. Undeniably has been like that. The second thing is, every project I build is probably going to be like that, where it's like, we definitely want to hit all of our ideas and functionality and things like that, and we'll probably go beyond and just say, okay, well, this would also be cool to add, this would also be cool to add. But then at some point, you kind of just have to be like, well, it's done. You know what I mean? We've done everything we set out to do. But enough of that, enough of rambling. Let's get back into the project itself. So clean repo, we want to rename that to, I completely forget what we wanted to do, organize the backend. I guess technically it is clean up the repo by virtue of this. So we're here. Let's see if the port goes back up. It does. So we should be able to do this, and I'll go to the Kanban page real quick, and I'm going to remove the single task here. We no longer need that. And we are looking at just the Kanban, just the content. I don't have the layout around it with the sidebar and maybe a footer or something. But let's pop into the backend. We have an SRC folder, which I'm actually going to not do. Let's get rid of that, and I'm going to change our package .json. We don't need it. It's actually just going to be server.ts. It should just work, right? I believe. Let's pop open that server again. Great, we're working. So let me just, reason is I don't want to have these nested folder structures. If you look at the front end now that we've done a little bit of maintenance, it's just like, it's clean. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. It looks great. You know what I mean? So I want to do the same thing in the front end. We're going to have our models folder. We're going to have some controllers. Or excuse me, did I say the front end? I want to do the same thing in the back end. And we're going to have some routes. So this all needs to be somewhat cleaned up a little bit. I don't want to be producing content that's not quality, and we might even have some middleware, some custom middleware files that we end up building. I'll think about it in a sec, but we already have enough to do here. So controllers, we have our task controller. I'll go ahead and say task.controller.ts. And I want to build that out. So we have our home. That was just kind of a test route. But I want to take all of these tasks. What was this? What was this thing? Get all task, right? I'll just say get task. It's fine. And I'm going to paste that in. And I'll say module.exports. We're going to export that. And I see the type errors. No worries, folks. We are going to get to that. Don't you worry. As well, the task data. So let me actually just ask our guy, help me type errors in Node.js. Boom. Okay, so because I actually don't know what the rec and the request and response should be from a type. Is it strings? I feel like it shouldn't be, to be honest. But we'll mess around with it. We'll play around. But okay, so I want to take this, and then I want to. Oh, I see. Okay, so they're actually full-blown request and response from Express, which makes a lot more sense. I knew it wouldn't be something that just wouldn't make sense that these would be strings. But the point is, I do want it to be a proper file. I do want to use TypeScript correctly. So task data, this is going to go into our model inevitably, which is going to be all of this stuff here. So I'm going to pop this into our model, and we'll say tasks.model.ts. Go ahead and we'll need to import the task type. Of course, changing the file path because we are a little bit deeper, I believe. then pop that file in, or that file path in. I need to export. Can I actually just do mod or export up here? Does that work? So for instance, if I import task data, because I feel like I shouldn't have to go. We'll do it for now, and then we'll swap it over. Because I know this works. So module.exports. So task data, I can now access all this data. This is where I'll probably connect the database and the model. We have our controller for get task. And then I need to import task data as an object from our model. So let's go ahead and pop that in here. Why are we getting task data? Oh, I see. Just a simple naming convention. Oh, it is tasks data. Okay, cool. So that should solve that, but we're still getting an issue here. Wonder if it's a type error. Declares task data, but is not exported. It should be. I feel like it is right here, no? Unless I need to export it like this. It's always something silly, so let me pull up an old project real quick just to kind of look at the model over here and see how. Yeah, I have it wrapped as an object over here, and I'm importing it as an object in the other file where I'm using it in the controllers. In fairness, though, I am doing different syntax. I'm doing the old ES or prior to the ES6 syntax. So let's see if that works, but it shouldn't be task data. It should be tasks data, right? Details are important, folks. And const, let's see if it's if this is gonna work. If I say task controller equals require controllers, task controller. And instead of going to here, the /task, I can just say this, get tasks, and it should in theory still work. Now I'm gonna get rid of well, I'll comment it out because we're just gonna steal this and pop it into the task controller as well. But I just wanna make sure that this endpoint is still working. So let me pull up Postman or run the server because I have a feeling it may not be working still. Oh, but look at that. It actually is on Postman. So that's awesome. It means we did everything correctly, which is very fortunate because wasn't expecting that, to be honest. I'm sometimes, not expect good, but sometimes it's, you have little hiccups or little things here and there. So pretty awesome that worked out. Now let's switch the syntax and see if it'll still just work effortlessly, and it's not. So I'm curious on why it's doing it like that. Why the const require works, but I can't use the import syntax. Not a problem to figure out today, or I'll ask our trusty ChatGPT. Oh, this double head. This feels so good scratching my head. Goodness gracious, folks. Let's take a little coffee breather. I would love for this YouTube series to just blow up, and then in the background I'll just have crazy stuff going on, and then it'll just be me focused on software. How epic would that be if one day, and I'm thinking ridiculous ideas like I'll be in a boat while people are wakeboarding behind me and stuff, and crashing and having and I'm just focused on have a setup in the middle of a boat somewhere. It would be so funny and so entertaining too. And then also if I was actually building really quality software, that'd be be so funny. And just ridiculous stuff, or like rope swinging in the middle of like the Grand Canyon, and I'm just like, oh guys, can you keep it down? I'm trying to focus. It'd be so entertaining, so funny. Or like, I don't know, I can come up with 50 ideas. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. So maybe we'll slowly integrate that over the episodes. Just gets like increasingly more ridiculous for every milestone. Like, oh, the 7th episode, 100 views, 1,000 views, like 10,000 views or something. Have just ridiculous stuff slowly going in, because the juxtaposition would be freaking hilarious. You know, I'm focused on building software over here. Like, oh, did I import that ES6 syntax correctly? And it's like the middle of a club, just like boom, boom, boom. Side note, I'm not like a club person at all. I know sometimes I have that demeanor, but I'm actually like someone who solves Rubik's Cubes. I've got a Rubik's Cube literally over here. Let me pull it out. My fun party trick is solving this thing. So we'll take a little breather. Maybe solve it intermittently, kind of throughout the program today. But basically, yeah, ginormous nerd, right? And I love it. I love it. You know what I mean? So let me think, what else can I do here? Let me just solve the first 2 layers. So we're solving the bottom real quick. And then I'll get back into it. Hold on, folks. Hold on. Boom. Okay, so we got the first 2 layers solved, and then actually we're pretty close. Might as well just finish her off, right? Why not? It's a lot of algorithms I don't know that I wish I knew. There's like the F2L algorithms, and then the OLL, I think it's orientate last layer, and then PLL algorithms to permutate the last layer. And those algorithms, if you know them, like you could easily get sub 30-second solve times, which would be just freaking crazy. Because I have this thing where when I have kids, I just want my son or daughter to be like, Dad, have you ever seen one of these? And I'm just like, no idea. What is that? And then just to shatter his or her reality, you know, just to. So anyway, back to building what we need to build. I'm gonna go ahead and steal these task controller logic, and I'm gonna build more of it. So we need our const get task. Let's see, rec res, and boom. I'm just gonna pop this in right up here. Oh, it's probably gonna be shorter to just hand type it, but tomato, we're getting it done. Okay, so I can get the task. I need to still get the params, the task ID. And this should still work, I imagine. And this home route, really we can get rid of. It was just to make sure that the router was working, or that the backend was interfacing with us. So we have the controller. Let me go ahead and, what else do we have? We have task ID, and this is a test. Okay, so we can get rid of that as well. So we have our task model. We have our task controller. And I think that's good to go, right? So we have our model, our controller, and then we obviously want to build a post task. But before doing that, I guess I could use the router. So I could say const, actually, no, that's going to exist in the router. So let me close the file, or the folder, excuse me. So I'll say task.routes.ts. And this will be const express. I still need express. Or I guess, depending on the syntax, I could say this. Oh, and I'll say const task router equals express dot router, and then invoke it. And where's our server? So I'm gonna have to say, how do I do this? How do I do this? I'm forgetting, guys. I could be a lot better at backend material. So, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll get there. We'll get there. Task.routes. I need to export the task router. Module.exports. Task router. And I think I could say task router instead of app.get. This is all going to be like this. Get task. And I need to import the controller into here instead of the server file. Again, I really want all the imports to be the ES6 syntax. I don't want it to be this old const, so I'll mess around with that, see if I can, well, that's invoking it, this one, but for this is an import. So I want my imports all consistent, so I'll have to do a little wrestling with that. But let's get back to this real quick. So app.task, this will just be this, and then this, I believe, will be app.use. And we still have to declare the initial route. And then I'll say task.router here. And I think that'll handle that first one. And then we need to do the same thing for this guy. And you can actually chain them together, I believe. But I still need to use the task ID here at the end. So task controller.get task. Okay, so if we've done it correctly, that still should work. Let's pull up our task. Let's see. And it's not working. So something broke. Or the server's not on. Nope, something broke. So let's analyze and let's figure it out. So we have our routes. Task ID. Let me just not do the ID real quick, just to see if we can just query the tasks as a whole. So task controller, I'm getting the get task and it's coming to the task router. Okay. No. Okay. Task router dot routes. Are these imports correctly? Oh, you know what? Maybe I didn't import this correctly. More than likely, that's maybe what it was. It was just an import issue. Let's see. Nice. I think we're still working. I think we're still working, folks. Let's go. Let's go. That's awesome. Okay, so let me uncomment this. Let's see if we're still able to query for an ID. Oh, server is not up yet, and we're up. So querying for a task ID maybe is not working. Let's see if it's something to do with the index. Maybe I can build a logger as well. I think that would be maybe useful, a little bit of middleware. So I will do that, and we're getting the endpoint, which is working. The response.json task index.id is not coming back though. So having a little issue here, unsure to why. Let's go ahead and refresh, undefined. It's coming back undefined. Task ID. Gosh, this looks a lot cleaner. I really do enjoy this. It's looking way cleaner. So we have our middleware and our server, our listening, and here's all of our imports. What a shame I can't just kind of import some of this stuff like this. .env from .env. Or is it working? Oh, it is working. Great. Well, that works. Let's clean that up. Clean that up. That's great. That's awesome. And let me try to, can I import task data like this? Will that work? I know we just tried it, but third time's the charm, I guess, you know? Maybe I was missing something simple. Task data is declared but never read. Why is that? So if I go to the model, if I export it like this, will that change anything? And destructure it here? No. Okay. And what if I go export here? See if this helps. Okay. Probably toss that. That's probably a quick fix for ChatGPT to do for us. So we won't mess with that too much more right now. But I do want to get this querying for the endpoint working, and then I do want to be able to post a task as well, I think, and maybe build some middleware would be pretty solid. So let's figure out why this is not working. I'm going to use my cheat sheet over here. I've got an old project that that I can kind of reference and look at a few things. So I still have them chained here, which is working. I just chained them like this in the other project. Let me look at the controller, I suppose. Okay. Maybe I do need to have some error handling. Say res.status 400. Look like what I did here with the little JSON message. Error task not found. Perfect. But that still should, oh, done that again. Error task not found. Okay, cool. So we have figured out that the task is not being found. I wonder why that is. Error, don't even think that's relevant, but let's get the server back up and running. Okay, let me think. Gosh, my eyes are irritated right now. I don't know if it's the context I'm wearing. They're just like really frigid or like getting kind of old or something. I don't know. Res.send, is that why? Error task not found. Do we not have a task with task ID 1? I'm pretty sure we do. If we go into our model, let's take a look. Yeah, I thought so. I thought we did have these task IDs. So task index, and we are getting that. I know that because we saw it in our console. Down here, if we query, say, give it a sec. So that number 1, that's going to be the route param here. Parameter. So task not found. I'm indexing for task data. Oh, you know why? Task data is not destructured, I think, right? Maybe. Oh. Task not found. Param, boom. Okay, so there we go. Always some dumb S word, folks. Always some dumb S word. Not to be aggressive or egregious or aggressive, but to be honest, it's always something dumb. Most of the time. Literally most of the time. So I'm going to go ahead and post a task now. If we say const new task, I need to build an object, and we'll have task name equals rec.params task name. That's correct. We'll have task priority, rec.name, task priority, task status. Oh, not task data. How should I do this? Oh, and task ID needs to be task data dot length plus 1, right? Task data dot length plus 1, I believe. Maybe we'll change the ID in the future to something else. Right now, it's just kind of a hard-coded, like easy number ID. But as I've kind of mentioned, I do want the task IDs to, in the previous episode, I do want them to be relevant to the sprint that they're in. So we'll maybe change to, I'll put a little question mark here, change to string ID. And these are better comments, by the way. These where you have this, it like colors it for you. I would recommend that extension. I believe it's called Better Comments, and it is great. It's fantastic. So let's get back to this. So task status. This is going to be an interesting one. So I need a timestamp because we're pushing a name. So I'll test for right now, and then we'll have timestamp here, and that could be date.now. That's fine. And what do we need? We have task data dot push new task. I believe this might work. So good news is I do have the cheat sheet over here. They're saying, okay, I do need to response.json send the task data. Not they're saying, but previous Ryan is saying, the guy who coded this thing, right? To do this, and I think that'll work. Let's test it. I'm going to close this front end repo. Don't want it open. We already have enough that we're dealing with. Let's focus in. So okay, let's see task ID. Let's pull up the old Postman, and we'll need to add request. We'll say post task and localhost 3000 task. We'll put body. We need to did not mean to drag that, meant to drag Postman. We need to put this all in the body. So if we go to raw, put it to JSON, we need to have a task ID. Actually, we don't need to do that one, but task name, and this will be something from test, right? Say task priority. Just go ahead and put it in like this, and we'll say medium. We don't have any mediums. And this is going to be a lot of our functionality for the how am I going to do this? How does this work? Test. And I see the error above, but no worries. I think it's just a comma error. We'll put a timestamp here. We'll just kind of hard code that in right now. Just want to see that this works. Implement. Did it work? Did it work? Oh, we're still getting post. Okay. Let's see, we're getting a 404 not found. So task. I thought it would work in my head. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT real quick. And it might be something to do with the object we're sending here. I might leave the task status out because we're hard coding it in. Let's see if that'll work. Syntax error unexpected. Oh, no, don't want that. cannot post /tasks. Oh, okay. Well, we obviously need to maybe get a little bit more refined on backend, but I need to post here, of course, build the route for it, task controller, and we'll post task. Maybe that fixed our problem. Let's wait for the server to fire up, and boom, task 5. Nice, it did. It did fix our problem. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. So we did get it in there. And if I command Z this, will that work? Task 6, timestamp test. The task name looks like it's not coming through. So I will need to configure some of that. Let me do something with prettier real quick. We'll make this 140 instead of 160. Reason is I do want this to start wrapping. Oh, no. Okay, we'll leave it at 160. See if I can configure the route myself to wrap. Just format-wise. I just want it to look like this so I can easily see what's going on. But looks like Prettier is not having a way with us. So task data, request, task name. Did I say task name? I did. So I wonder if I can console log this and we can see what's being pushed through. If we post and boom. So we're getting task name undefined, task priority undefined, and I wonder why that is. ChatGPT is saying to destructure this, of course. So const task body, or task name, excuse me, task priority, and to rec.params, rec.body. Oh, rec.params, that's exactly why. So that's why I need to do that. And I think when the server's back up, give it a sec, we'll see it. App listening on port 3001. Boom, we're up and acting, folks. Then I'll go ahead and destructure it. That's a little bit of a cleaner syntax. Or not so much in this case because we have other things going on like the task data length for the ID. And then also this object, I'm going to have to think about how I want to do that for a second, but I just want to see that this is all working again. And I want to, so we have our backlog or our mock database for now, and then we'll maybe connect to, I know I said SQL, but I might be swapping that database over to Mongo. Maybe I could try some sort of Postgres or something like that. I really do like non-relational databases. So far, it's just something I've experienced and had a good time with. I'm not fully committed on sticking with SQL. I know how Mongoose works. I know how MongoDB works, though I did kind of say in spirit of doing a new project, right, with Nuxt.js and kind of having these new challenges, right, and learning these new things. I think that's part of this challenge as a whole. But I will be transparent. There is some stuff in here that has already been a challenge, so been a fun challenge though, nonetheless. So we have our operations where we can post, fetch, and fetch one task. I definitely want to have an update in a sec, but I kind of want to build this so we can add task. And if I refresh this, I want to see that this button can add a task. I think that would be kind of cool if we could have a pop-up and then fill in what we need, like the name, the priority, and maybe the category. Again, we haven't really implemented that to our schema yet, so we'll leave that out for now, but we'll get to it. We will. I'm going to commit this. We'll say MVC for model view controller. It's what we implemented. Go ahead and start that back up. Okay, so It's looking great though so far. I do want to hop, I think, back to the front end and kind of figure out what we want to do, unless I could build some sort of delete. Gosh, that server file just looks fantastic right now, doesn't it? Okay, so let me think. And do we ever want to have an ability to delete tasks after they're like created and assigned out of the backlog? Should all tasks always exist after that point or not? Something I'll need to think about. Something I will need to think about, right? So I'm asking ChatGPT some of these questions, like can you build an update task endpoint? From what I understand from updating a task, is all we want to do is just make a pull request, and basically we'll just pass in a new task if the ID matches this task ID. So maybe I can kind of build it, but if ChatGPT is going to do it, we can go ahead and just copy this and paste that in. So find index of task. I'll need to import the type for the task type. And we'll say, boom, task type. I could probably rename this at some point to task, just uppercase task. But task type is good for me. Say update task. So if name, okay, so this is what chat says. Rec.body, boom, boom, boom. Update task with the new values if provided. If there is a task name provided, change the value. If not, it looks like keep it. But where am I pushing? So rest.send, task updated successfully. Okay, I see right here, boom. Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's think about this in a, oh gosh, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm getting a little bit ahead. So I just want to come back to this button. And when I press the button, I want it to trigger a new task. And then I think next episode, we'll probably integrate a database of somehow, because I don't obviously want to have this hard coded here. I want it to be connected to a database that handles all of our data. So I won't mess with the update task thing right now, because we also don't have it built on the front end. Let me go to the front end. Let's pop over to that side of this stack, and we'll pop over to the Kanban page. We have our base columns. One of these things that I would like to knock out today as well is the assign task to columns. So basically what that would look like is I'm going to either have the data passed in from the Kanban page like it is now. So we have all task store being passed in, which is kind of a redundant thing to do, because really I could just literally pass the task store into the column. So I'll go ahead and refine that now, actually. Let's just go ahead and do that. And I can just do this, delete all three. And const all task equal this. I just need to initialize task store in here instead of that, instead of the Kanban page. I just need to initialize it into the columns. Is that what I want to do though? I'm trying to think ahead, you know what I mean? But I think it's fine for now. We're not using single task anymore, so that's fine. The Kanban page will just be that. The column will be this, and task store. I don't know where we're at in the stack. Nope, that was correct. Stores. Okay, all task. And we're no longer passing in all task here, so we can get rid of that here. We have task store being configured. All tasks can be this, as task type, and boom. Should be handled, right? So all of our tasks are now here in the columns. Before they were in the Kanban page, and the Kanban was then distributing them to each column, but we were accessing them from the store, so we might as well just access them inside of the column. And what I'm gonna do is just filter, I think I'll say const filter task or filtered task or task for this column or something. And basically what I want is whatever column I'm in, if I'm in the to-do column or the in progress column or done column, I just want to show the tasks that are associated to this status. And we may not be able to see them right now. So I'll go to the tasks card and let me just put them up here. Task status, so we can see them. And I think it was name that we want to access. Oh, we got a map. We'll say task, we'll say status, and then status.name, I believe it is. So we have all of our task right here. Let me actually get it out of the card because we're going to delete this. It's only going to be relevant to the and we don't even need the all of them. We just need the last one, I believe. I believe that's all we need, right? We just need the one that's at the length of task status. So how can I do this? How can I could say task status.length equals index probably, and. So I think what I'm trying to go for is just showing just the last one, right? But we're getting an issue here. Task status cannot find task status. Weird, because it's right here. Oh, do I need to go task status? That's what it is, right? So I think it's length -1. Yeah, okay, cool. So all of these tasks that are quote unquote done, we just want the last place that it is. So I'm gonna go back to our model. And I always want to query for the last place I put it. So this task status is just gonna be the history. And maybe I could change it to task status history, might be a better name for it. Because technically it's not this status, it's this whole thing of history, and maybe I'll have some sort of controller that handles that. Sounds like a more complicated build, but the point is I always just want the last place it is, so I just want this one. And all of them happen to be done. So let me actually label a few of them correctly and say this one's to do. Assign task to column, we'll call that one done because that'll be literally done. And then I'll say this one's in progress, like we're live tracking our task. I'll just use that one actually. And these names should all change, so we should see them accordingly whenever the server's back up. So to do, done, to do, in progress, perfect. And now I just need to filter each column based on what tasks are available per the column. So how can we do this? I want to say const filter task, and it'll be all task dot filter task dot, and what's our task status dot map status equals, it's going to status dot name, equals, we could just say to do for now, but it needs to be the column name. I just want to see if this will work. Task status, need to arrow into it. Maybe that'll work. And let me think. Where does, so this gets passed into here, I believe. Const filter task, and I might need to reassign the object. So how can I would say task Would that work? Filter task. Oh, not right there. Maybe it would be here. Let's see. Let's see. Give me a sec, guys. This is always fun little algo to work out, right? Task cards. Let's not put task cards. Let's just have filter tasks. See if we're filtering even correctly. Oh, did I need to return? Is that maybe all I needed to do? Was return that there. Let me remove that. Let's see if that works. No. Let's see, filter task. I'm gonna figure it out. I will. Task, is that what we need to do? Filter it that way. Filter task. I feel like I need to do a REST operator somewhere as well, where I say like, filter task. Oh, you know what? Maybe I do. So all task filtered. Do I? I would say task and task task status, right? Excuse me, guys. I'm struggling here. Struggling to do a filter. But basically, I just want to filter that the tasks that say to do. I need to get my console Ninja working again. That's a whole thing. But I want to get the tasks that are that just say to do, which looks like I think we might be doing it. So we have task ID fix icon issue, and is that one of them? Fix icon issue. That is one of them. Nice. So maybe it is working. Filtered task. Let's see. I'm gonna have to learn a little because I'm kind of doing a front end filter, but I really should be doing this on the back end, to be honest. Because when we query, we shouldn't have to query, 100 tasks for the column. It really should just be handled on the back end. So let me think, because then it's not get task. That's not the endpoint I would want. The endpoint I would actually want would be get task by column. So, this is making my head hurt. But I think we can do it for the front end for right now. Filtered. Here we go. That's not going to work. Let me just pop this in here, see what we're working with. Filtered task. Okay, so this is exactly what I want to look at. I don't want to filter. I don't want to see any other task unless they say to do in the last position here. So that one says done. So that's how we know it's not working. So let me think about this. All filter task. I need to maybe do something here, I think is what I need to do. So I'll say return the task according to this. Maybe that's what we needed. Let me pull out this filter again. Let's just refresh. No, we're still having an issue here. So I'm gonna use the trusty old ChatGPT, of course, just to write a quick algorithm for us. But basically I want to filter task based on the, oh, and then I need to, it would have to be the last task status too. So because I'm filtering, and it's literally, I think, returning anything that equals to do. So it needs to be the status at the last index, which makes it more complicated, right? So there's two ways I can approach it. I can do it the way I'm doing, which I have, it's probably more than two ways, but I'm doing it this way of saying, well, just record all the history, and that'll work for the timeline. And then I'm just taking the last position to know where the position should be rendered on the DOM. Another way to do it is to do all this on the backend, right? But I think that would be naive because we do get functionality of keeping all the history here. Like I said, this status should be task status history, because we're stamping each time it's getting moved. So we can see when people complete stuff, we can see where it's at on a timeline and stuff. So I think that's the trick. Yeah, this is going to be tricky though. Let me write a quick prompt for ChatGPT. I want to filter tasks based on the last task status it is in, and show it on, filter it the correct column for data is this. Oh, I can also get rid of this. I saw that little add-on yesterday that I didn't need, just a tiny thing. Don't need those frags around that base card, but when I was reviewing the footage, didn't need that. So it's just a tiny thing, but okay, let me get back to writing this prompt. Okay, it's typing. Gosh, I'm so excited though to see how this is genuinely being built out. I think it's really exciting. I really do. Okay, let's see. You can achieve this by filtering the method on task data array. Okay, so I don't know if that's what we want, but I'll drop it here. This is what ChatGPT is saying. So if I say all task here, and let's see. Oh, that is exactly what we want. Well, good thing for ChatGPT. So get the last status from the task arrays. We need the last status length. Oh my gosh, that's so much simpler than all the mapping and filtering and all the shenanigans I was doing. And then instead of saying to do, we literally just have to say to the column header. And that's dope. That is cool. That is cool. We've done it successfully, so this task is done. It's in the done column, folks. That is so cool. Holy crap, I can't believe this thing's actually starting to come together. You know what I mean? When you start something, you don't realize it's going to actually work or something, and you have questions. I still have questions. There's still a lot of work to do, but it's cool seeing it, like, you know, pieces of it unfolding. You know what I mean? So golly, what a successful day. What a successful day. And episode 7, folks, we're just freaking crushing right through, I think. Don't need these frags here. Now I'm just kind of nitpicking, but so cool. Holy crap. This is so freaking rad. Let me push this all, and I think I'm going to call it a wrap here for the day. But all together, thank you guys so much for watching. Freaking, let me see, git push. Again, links in the description for my software engineering program. It's going to be a little bit more curated version of this. I keep mentioning that, and I really mean it. It's going to be, well, it is already a much more curated version where I'm doing a lot of stuff. One thing, I guess before we leave, I did want to add the task button where I can just add from here. But we really won't be able to see it until we connect the database. It'll just be doing basically what we did on Postman, where we could post from here. So I think next episode, I think the goal is go ahead and get the database firing up, and maybe we'll build out a little bit more of the application. There's a lot to do though, so there's certainly no shortage of work here. But links in the description for the course, and it's going to be curated. Kind of is already curated where I've clipped it up. I review the footage. I add a little music, and I obviously cut the audio and try to pick out the bits that I find most valuable. I do hope all of this is still valuable for the community as a whole. I think this is just really enjoyable for me to film these segments, these podcasts, or this podcast style, coding style, where I'm just narrating and kind of word salading ideas and struggles and successes. Gosh, this is pretty cool though. I'm proud of myself. You know what I mean? I really am. I'm feeling good about how this is starting to turn out. I know there's going to be some challenges ahead though, so I don't want to get too confident. But the idea is every time one of these change, we'll fire a function off. And boom, it'll swap to that side. Need to update the database, and we'll have to figure out some sort of web sockets for multiple users. But a lot of work in front of us still. I'm just happy to see this kind of coming together. That's pretty cool. So thank you guys for watching. A lot of work in front of us. I'm stoked with the work that's being done though so far. It's really cool. I'm very proud of it. And we're organizing the folders. Maybe I'll get the linter up and running. It's tough. It's like, where do I do? What do I do next? You know what I mean? You got to do all of it, right? You got to do all of it. So, but this is cool to see that we can literally track the task. Like, holy crap. And we're finishing task. That's assigned task to columns. Well, that's done. So maybe what we can do is talk about more tasks to assign. And these will obviously get into the database later. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and assign tasks to ourselves. So let me copy this task down, and we'll say task number 4, connect database. And we'll say this is a to-do task. So that should pop up here whenever the server is back up and firing. And there's kind of another task actually before this, which is align with what database I want to use. Align with DB, we'll put that. Do I want to use SQL or Mongo? And maybe we'll put that one in progress. Folks, we are doing the do. This is kind of cool. This is, we'll say medium for the priority. And this priority here is high. We do need to connect the database. That is going to be an important thing to do. So, yeah, tasks are getting done. Maybe a task ID I can also say that is done. Say task 6, just to feel good about ourselves, is a init front end. init backend as well for a task. And the reason why I want to do this too is we'll get so many tasks going that we need to figure out something either to collapse the task. I know that was one idea I had earlier, or earlier in this series, I should say. Or we'll have to have like be scrollable or some version of both, where you can collapse them, scroll them, or filter them and say, hey, I only want to see like 5 tasks or 50 tasks. Yeah, but so cool. Gosh, folks, we're doing the do. And I'm gonna put, you know what, instead of this, I'll say init repos, and for task 7, in name of episode 7, we'll say blast through and celebrate episode 7. Because folks, we have blasted through and made it through proverbial episode 7 in programmer fashion. That is amazing. So thank you guys so much for watching, and so cool that we're doing the do. We're making this thing happen. All right, folks, I'll see you on the next episode, hopefully sooner than later. This is awesome momentum, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited for the next bits too. So cheers. I hope you guys have an amazing day. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm a tiny channel right now. And you know, every view counts. Every person watching counts. So thank you so much for taking your time out to do this. I genuinely appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Bye.